Podcast number 12, baby. Hey, we're making content nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Today we have a special guest, Jonni boy. I feel like I say special in front of any guest, but I feel like any guest that comes on here is special. And you are too for watching it. Thank you. Anyway, Jonni boy. Yeah. My best gay friend. What can I say? He's a gem of a human. And we get in some pretty interesting topics, some somewhat controversial, some not, you know. We have we have some interesting discussions and we don't agree on all things, but hey, that's what life's for, right? You have to have conversations that are a little bit difficult and a bit uncomfortable to see what's up, basically. But anyway, apart from that, you know, he's a stylist, fashion designer. You know, he went to. I'm not even gonna explain it because we sort of explain it within the podcast itself. But anyway, he's a very talented human being. He works very hard at what he does. And yeah, I think he's got a bright future. But that's it. I hope this podcast brings some joy into your day. And yeah, you know, you do all the good things. Like, subscribe, because those are good things. Yeah, the most important things in the world, apparently. But anyway, hope you enjoy this one. Mr. Jonni boy.
Oh my God.
Welcome to a bit less of a hectic.
Yeah, we could just sit down and chill this time.
Yeah, last one was it was chaos. It was good.
Peak.
It was
so fun.
It was a good
It was a good introduction.
Yeah, it was.
Honestly, it was like ripping off a Band-Aid, just like really fast on a really hairy patch.
Yeah,
on your body.
really hairy patch. It was so funny. My parents watched it. He was like, "Who's that guy?"
Oh my God!
But obviously,
the
Stoimanovs.
Shit.
They obviously didn't watch the whole thing, but I was like, yeah, that was my housemate from like.
I actually can't believe I haven't met your parents yet. Like, that makes me very sad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You just haven't. I mean, they're not really around that much. They come like every for my birthday and whatever, but they're not really here that much.
There have been a few opportunities, but I just haven't been there.
Yeah, you haven't.
Like, kind of sad.
The Stoimanovs.
The Stoimies.
The big family. Anyway, welcome properly to the KOKO Pods.
Thanks, Coke.
How'd you feel?
Just sitting down, having a conversation with a microphone in my face.
It's legit. It's legit. Everyone that's sort of sat down here, their first sort of impression is that it feels a bit surreal because you don't really do this too much in real life when you just sit down especially with a microphone and a camera in your face.
Across the tiny table with, what is this? Where is this from?
This is actually from my village in Bulgaria.
I think I heard you talking about this the other day, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits in my room.
Well, yeah, you might have been talking about something else. You have a lot of bits from Plovdiv.
No, it's not from Plovdiv, actually.
Okay.
So Plovdiv is where I'm from, but my grandparents are from a village called Krastovic, which is...
Krastovic.
Yeah. It's just like some
Why
nothing.
does everything sound the same? Like KOKO, Kiriwoof, Krastovic, and what's your dad's name?
Kirill.
Oh, right.
Kirill. Well, his name's Kirill, but my middle name's Kirill because in a lot of European countries...
You take your dad's name?
Yeah, you take your dad's name as your middle name.
So if you had a child, their middle name would be Kostadin.
Kostadinov. Yeah, with an OV at the end, yeah.
Why?
That's just how it works grammatically.
Okay.
Yeah, weird.
Love that.
Anyway, whatever. And if you have a child, then your child's middle name will be Jonov.
Oh my God, I hate that. That's my real name as well. You just exposed my real name, John. Christ.
Isn't that hilarious that your name
I
is
actually had
John?
a conversation with my parents recently, but like, why the fuck was it John? Oh my God. My dad wanted to call me Johnny Utah, who I think is like a I don't know, some like straight reference, like
Johnny
a race
Utah.
car driver, or like a boxing person. I don't know. Like
Johnny Utah.
imagine me being called Johnny Utah. Actually, it's kind of sick.
That is kind of sick.
Yeah, but
John.
like,
It's like the last.
yeah, thing you would think to name a being like me.
Yeah. Must have come out and go out and be like, guys, please, like.
Yeah, like everything was a rebellion against my serious name from the beginning.
Oh my days.
We were just destined.
We were talking earlier because obviously now you have like an opportunity to potentially move to Japan, and that would be the 8th country that you'd have actually lived in.
8th country at 26.
That's crazy.
Which, yeah, I mean, like, when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, that's actually kind of mad. Like, you know, most people that I meet have kind of lived in one place for their entire lives, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Or a couple, like.
Sure,
but,
yeah. But I don't know. So it doesn't really sink in with me.
Well, it's just because it's your life, right?
It literally is. Like, it's not.
So what, you started, was you born in Ireland? Or
Born in Northern Ireland, in Derry. Shout out if you watch Derry Girls on Netflix. That's where I was born, in that culture.
Okay.
No, but I was obviously like a newborn baby, and we moved like after to Germany, where we all kind of did kindergarten, me and my siblings. Oh my God, fun story from me, like as a child in Germany. So one day, in the playground, it's kind of like a mixed playground where it's like all ages basically. And so like I would play in the same kind of areas like my brother, who was maybe 1 or 2 years older than me. Yeah. And one of his friends decided it would be fun to throw a rock at my head. And that day I was wearing a red cap on my head, like a hat. So I didn't realize until I got home that he had essentially like gashed a hole in my cranium, and my entire like head was, or my hat was covered in blood, like, soaked in my blood.
But because it was red.
Because it was red, nobody knew until I got home. My mom took it off, and I had this huge like hole in my head.
Oh my days! How old were you?
Oh my God, like 2. Like really young.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Maybe that explains everything. Explains why I'm wearing sparkly sleeves now.
Yeah. That was it. That was the turning point.
Oh my God, imagine.
Getting hit in the head as a kid.
Yeah, like a humongous rock to my head. Whatever.
Germany.
So Germany, there's a little tidbit of Germany. Germany, then Italy for 9 years. From like age of 3 to 11. Is that 9?
About
whatever.
Just under, but yeah.
Then we moved to India from age of 11 to 18. So I did all of my kind of
growing up,
serious
puberty.
Schooling, yeah, and puberty and adolescence and all of that, like finding yourself shit in New Delhi, India. Which we could talk about later.
Yeah.
Lots of stories.
Crazy place.
And then we moved to Singapore. My parents and my sister moved to Singapore to finish her schooling. I was only there for like 4 months, but we did the whole like move into a hotel while your furniture is being shipped across the sea kind of thing, or flown in, and move into the house, unpack all the boxes, and kind of settle in the house. So I consider it as me living there.
Well, yeah, if you've done the whole process.
Yeah. Then obviously came here to London for school, for uni at Central St. Martin's, which we can also talk about.
CSM. Before the podcast.
Mad place. And now I live in the Netherlands with my parents. It's probably the least favorite place I've lived
Maastricht
in.
or whatever.
Yeah, Maastricht.
Yeah.
Tiny town, super down south, on the border of Belgium. But yeah, that's my chronological
living situation.
Timeline.
Yeah, mental.
Yeah, and hoping to add Japan to that very, very soon.
Yeah,
actually.
seriously. Yeah, if it was to happen, when would you go?
Literally like less than a month from now.
Yeah.
From this point right now. My for those who don't know, I got accepted into like a Japanese learning school to learn Japanese. And the term starts, or the one that I chose starts 5th of April. So I don't have a lot of time for prep, especially because I get back to the Netherlands the 16th next week.
Oh my days, yeah.
So I have maybe a week and a half.
Wow. That's
to sort
crazy.
out accommodation, like getting a student visa, like it's
You need
gonna
to be on it.
Yeah,
Oh my-
insane.
It's fun though.
Yeah.
I hope you get to do it because that'll be.
I hope so as well, honestly.
I think it would be good for you, just a bit of change of scenery and a bit of a challenge, just a bit of like new
beginnings,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and it's just kind of what I'm used to. You know, after a while, I kind of not get bored of a place, but I just want to go somewhere else. I want to explore.
But also, like, yeah, you live in Maastricht right now, which is
probably the deadest place on earth. No, it really isn't. But like,
no, it's just like a lovely old town, isn't it? It's
yes,
it's just like
it's just a very. I think it's like the oldest city in the Netherlands.
Oh, really?
Or something. Yeah, I might have.
Whatever.
Don't quote me
Facts.
on that.
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of history. It's a nice place to visit.
Yeah,
It's a big kind of not breeding ground, but like a lot of people just come there from Italy and Belgium and France.
But also, I feel like because you've been there, and you haven't really had much opportunity to really make friends or anything, really. So
because it happened during COVID.
Yeah. So
I got there and COVID just kind of started.
It's not what you want, really, is it?
No.
Because if you have mates there, it can make it
so much easier. Yeah.
But
especially living with my parents, it's like when COVID first started and how kind of dangerous it was, or how much
it was all just like
little we knew about it. I didn't want to compromise them in terms of their health, so
it adds another level to it, doesn't it?
It does. So yeah, that made it more difficult. Not that I would have gone out and just like, I don't know, spoken to strangers in the street to try to make friends, but
at least you have like a bit more of a
leeway of something.
And you don't have to worry about this as much when it's just like, because we lived here just us lot, and it was a lot less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we did much because we just chilled here anyway. But
I think about that a lot. Like, what would my life be if I had stayed in London during COVID up until this point? Honestly, I think either way, even if I stayed a little longer, I might have moved back with my parents just because COVID sucks and not wanting to work in retail to kind of make ends meet.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about
what?
Just your clothing, the fashion side of things.
shit.
Yeah. Because that's why you're here, right? That's why you're in London right now, because you're sort of like you have like 6 months of not doing much in Maastricht, and then you come here, and then you have like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of just insaneness. Like,
well, yeah, like since July, I've been coming back here. I think I've come back here 6 or 7 times now, since July of 2021. Just balls to the walls. Wanting to grow my portfolio, make up for time that I lost because of COVID.
Do you feel like a bit of an internal pressure or some sort of guilt that you didn't do that, and now you're trying to make up for it? Or
yeah, I guess so. But I didn't really have the opportunity anyway, so I can't really like beat myself up for that too much. Although I mean, I do. But again, living with my parents, COVID was a thing. Everybody was in lockdown, couldn't do anything, so I had no choice but to kind of just do my own thing. But I occupied my time making a second fashion collection, so that was something. But coming back here to do photo shoots and creatively direct shoots and style and debut my collection, I guess, has been like, I can't even tell you how it has helped my
Mental state.
Fast decline in mental health.
Yeah, I bet. What's the dream? Like, what would you like to do with like the whole
with my
fashion
talents and my skills? Honestly, and this sounds so corny, but I genuinely just want to be happy. That's it in my life. I just want to strive for happiness, whether that is within fashion, whether that's within a completely different area. I have other interests that I would love to explore if life ever presented that opportunity to me, like perfumery and fragrance, which you do things.
I do loads. Yeah.
Or like, you know, if I ended up in Tokyo, and because it's like the most common thing to do and is to teach English, or I could teach art classes, like some kind of just basic shit like that. I mean, no offense to teachers out there, it's not basic.
no.
For me, maybe a little less exciting to the things I usually do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if I found happiness in any of those realms, that would be the dream. Financial stability as well.
Yeah.
Like, not even for like the materialism of it, but just for the comfort of not having to worry about that, because it's been such a huge thing in my life since moving to uni. I mean, I have not known not to be financially struggling. You know, my parents are very supportive, so I have them to lean on when, you know, I really need to. But I don't want that for the rest of my life.
No, yeah.
So,
it doesn't feel good, does it?
No, it just doesn't feel like accomplished to do that.
No, it doesn't. What do you think brings you the most happiness now?
Doing the shoots I'm doing, especially because I think I've improved in my creative skills like so much within the past few months, or even just few years, really. I mean, they're incredibly stressful to begin with, but they're so rewarding when it all works out.
You see the final product and stuff. Yeah.
Although that doesn't give me any monetary benefit at the moment.
Not yet. Yeah.
Being around you and friends, just in general, is like a good, not even distraction, but, you know, just like,
humans need that. Yeah, humans need social interaction, just social, just a bit of, you know, just like
fun.
Yeah, just like
stupid shit.
Yeah, literally whatever. Like, what was the other day? But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, with those shoots in particular, it's like, yeah, it's good to see.
Going out as well.
You going out.
That is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Especially just as a queer person. Going out it kind of feeds my life.
Yeah. And it always has, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And it's a good, well, it's sort of like the only place where you express clothes on yourself.
Totally. Like myself to like the fullest extent. It's kind of a combination of everything I like. Clothing, makeup, performance, I guess. Just kind of feeling yourself in the moment.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because you move different, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, when you wear drag. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Socializing, networking, dancing, you know, all of those things.
Yeah.
Like, it's a combination of everything. So, and I always think whether that will dissipate one day just with age. But I don't know. I feel like as queer people, you kind of just keep on going.
Just keep partying.
Yeah. So.
What do you think it is that, like, specifically, like, people that do drag, that their personality sort of completely changes as soon as they put on this, like, full get up? Yeah. What do you think that is?
Probably just kind of a basic concept of societal kind of oppressions, you know, in everyday life. And when you have the opportunity to dress up, whether it's for like carnival or Halloween or a themed house party or a queer drag night, like the opportunity to dress up like pulls parts of your like facets of your personality that you didn't know you were maybe suppressing. And it allows like a freedom in you and kind of like a power almost, because you're assuming, I don't want to say like a different persona because it is part of you clearly, but you're assuming something so far detached from your everyday kind of life that it just manifests insanity, you know?
Yeah. Also, I think like in your people in their like everyday lives, like with every person, you know, everyone has like a box, let's say, you know, like where that they put on themselves, and over time, like people around them, you know, like you sort of know, oh, here's Jonni or here's Ella, she's that type of person, blah 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 blah.
Right.
But then like when you dress up and you sort of like visually become very different, I feel like a lot of those a lot of those things where you normally think about a person to sort of go out the window because, well, first of all, it's visually really very different, and then you can sort of like assume like a different character or something that's just like
it's almost like a shield or armor in some way, like because you genuinely feel quite impenetrable when you dress up, and you feel so much more confident, because you're, you know, assuming a different, like you said, character, personality, just kind of visual persona. I mean, and you just feel like nobody can fuck with you.
Yeah, of course, yeah, especially like if you're in the right sort of setting. Yeah, definitely. And like sort of like queer culture is becoming like more and more and more popular, sort of in the, it's becoming more of a like a pop culture thing.
Yeah. And even with things like fashion, that kind of stemmed from a lot of just kind of queerness in the past, is being, I mean, and has been for years now, adopted by just like straight people, and you know, like
a wider audience, just everyone. Yeah,
I feel like a prime example is somebody like A$AP Rocky, like really kind of delved into fashion and gave no fucks, in like, I don't know, a weird pivotal moment in his career, and people like that really dragged it out of an underground space and made it into something that, I mean, I see like, pardon the term, but roadmen like wearing D-squared, and they probably have no idea that D-squared is two incredibly homosexual, flamboyant, like gay twins.
Really, I didn't know what D-squared is. It's a big thing in like like London, like roadman culture. You know? I see it all the time, like wood green and stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The Balenciaga as well is a huge one.
Balenciaga is a hilarious brand.
It is very interesting.
Just like they're like they're like high fashion, but they're super quick acting pop culture fashion. As soon as something is happening in the world, they'll make it a thing. You know what I mean? If someone's making like, I don't know, like all of a sudden there was like this thing on like, you know, like TikTok and stuff where people like with beat up shoes and skaters with beat up shoes, and then they started like they made the thing where it's just like made it into like a high fashion thing where selling like £700 trainers that look like I've been worn for like 10 years.
That's mad.
Yeah. You know, like stuff like that is.
But like it's so much more cool now, you know, to wear designer clothing and to express yourself through fashion. And it's something like I've just slowly kind of experienced throughout my life, especially when I was in high school wearing mad shit and I would get bullied for it. I mean, you're obviously in a different setting because you're around like 16-year-olds whose brains are like mush. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you know, whatever. It's like the peak of just not understanding anything.
Yeah, when you're that age, just like anything goes.
Yeah. But I've definitely noticed like a progression in how fashion has become like acceptable now for you to kind of express yourself much more. It just interestingly,
yeah. Fashion. I've always struggled a bit with fashion, because like one side of me, one side, like the very like pragmatic side of me is like fashion is all bullshit. It's just like just wear some clothes. It doesn't matter what it is and whatever. But then the other side, like. Like it's so expressive for some people. It's literally their life and how they go about things, and can bring so much like joy and empowerment to certain people. But I didn't tell you I'm going to Berlin Fashion Week on Sunday.
Alex told me.
Yeah,
which is so fun.
Yeah.
It's like it's your first fashion show?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been to a couple of, not like a proper one. I don't think.
Right.
So that should be fun.
Berlin Fashion Week is fun. I've been once.
Yeah.
Me and Lily and a friend of hers, we all kind of snuck in.
Really?
Yeah. It was hilarious.
I'm getting free trainers, which is very exciting.
Sick. Yeah, I was asking Alex like what kind of perks you'll get from the job.
We got to pick like it's like some Nike collaboration, and we'll have the trainers before they're out.
Yeah, he showed me. Yeah, they look sick.
Yeah. But so that'll be fun. But fashion is just always.
I agree with you though that fashion, like the kind of concept of fashion, can kind of steer into the realm of bullshit.
Yeah.
But even people like you, or just like people who don't think they are making conscious decisions about fashion, like. Even if it isn't the craziest statement, you still chose to put this outfit on.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you chose to buy those jeans versus another pair that was next to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
actually, I don't think I've bought anything that I'm wearing.
Stop. It's fucking breaking down my point there. Great.
But no, I agree with you 100%. So much of the stuff that we think like we don't necessarily make decisions for, they're decisions that are made for us.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like in like Devil Wears Prada. Like
the classic speech about the
dress,
the blue belt,
how
the belts and how they look exactly the same. Or no, sorry, the cerulean belt.
Yeah. But no, it's just like how it obviously it starts off with like high fashion and like
and it filters
crazy
down.
Like stuff that no one actually wears, but then it does trickle down into like everyday market,
into fast fashion. Yeah, exactly.
And then there's fast fashion.
Fast fashion is bullshit.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, there's no argument to that.
Yeah. But it's isn't fast fashion like the worst thing that humans are doing right now in terms of like how much it's polluting the world?
Yeah, I think I've heard that as well.
Yeah, which is which makes sense.
It makes total sense
because the amount of chemicals and stuff that gets used for bleaching things.
Also, just how disposable fashion is as a concept. And how non-disposable it is, just in terms of it being environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
You know,
because you don't want clothes to fall apart.
Right.
You don't want clothes to fall apart, but
nobody wants to wear the same outfit twice. You know what I mean? So it's the worst combination of things.
Yeah. It's. I mean, to be fair, in recent years, like the last 10 years or so, there's been a big shift in like. Just charity, you know what I mean? Like secondhand stuff, like charity shops have become like...
Just like the awareness of how unsustainable fast fashion is.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we're still not anywhere near a kind of
Yeah.
good place. But I mean, the seed is being planted in people's heads more and more.
Yeah, I mean,
minds.
but it's hard, right? Because, and I speak to Ella about it because she loves Shein, and like Shein is just like,
I know whenever I hear anybody like buying things from things like places like Nasty Gal or Misguided or what's the other one?
ASOS.
What is it?
No, Boohoo.
Boohoo. Yeah. places like
ASOS.
that.
I mean,
Like,
it's all the same concept,
it
right?
is, yeah. And I'm like,
But like the thing is, and like, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really matter what you like Zara or whatever, because at the end it's the same process.
I mean, I'm saying that wearing a Bershka tracksuit right now, but I've worn this.
Yeah, you have worn this
for like 4 years.
Yeah. And then somehow still,
Well, there's some holes in it now, but whatever.
It's not stained. I don't know. I can't wear white stuff. Like I struggle with stains.
There's a few here and there, but
Whatever. Yeah, wear it with pride.
Anyway.
But anyway, whatever. Like, yeah, I hope. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure we'll figure out. But
I don't know. I think the world will blow up by the time we figure it out. Let's just write it out. Let's just continue to try to be good people until, it all ends.
Are you do you have a positive outlook on life in terms of the world?
No,
No.
not particularly. But that probably stems from me being queer and just kind of the world being against me in that respect. So I just feel like maybe my empathy might be heightened towards other kind of minority groups. And I don't know. I see the disaster.
The disaster.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of that just stems from like media consumption and like how things are portrayed, or
possibly? Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't surround myself with enough actual real life people to see the joy in their lives. Rather than what is maybe kind of fed to me through Instagram or just the news in general, or whatever it may be. Because, I mean, we talk about it all the time, like, positive stuff doesn't make the news. It's the negative shit
it does.
kind of goes viral, really. So, but yeah, I mean, hence my goal in life is to just be happy.
Yeah.
what I
No,
mean?
of course.
So,
But I mean, yeah, it's hard to like, like when in the media, when all you see is like, all you see is
turmoil.
Yeah, turmoil. Whatever, like, whatever part of whatever minority part you're in society, you're always going to be fed up for the media just because that affects you the most. So you click on it the most, so you get more back from it.
Or you follow people that are, similar to you, so that's what they repost.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's hard to like, not necessarily convinced, but from when I read stuff about just the world in general, a lot of the stuff that tends to grab my attention is that like we're going in a good direction, but like compared to like what gay rights was like.
Sure, like
a few, like 10 years ago, 50 years ago, it's like we're in a very much an upward trajectory of like diversity and like et cetera. But because like all we see is the negative side of things, I think it gives us like a foggy.
Yeah, I think on a level it's also not good, but whatever, good to be fed the kind of negative parts as well, because it does, regardless of how much we've come, or how much we've done, it kind of brings us back to realizing that there's still a lot of work to do, you know, which isn't a bad thing. It's just good to kind of bring awareness to that, essentially.
Yeah, it's good to bring awareness, but I feel like it reaches a point where people get so obsessed over it. That's all they look at and it's all they see.
Right.
And then, well, talking about happiness, like, it does not make you happy, because if all you're looking at is like all these like disastrous things that are happening.
Yeah.
And you're fed a certain type of bias or agenda or whatever. Then like, I think it's very hard today to find a balance within that. Just to try and find like,
just even on like a personal level, like that shit is not like particularly what's the word, like healthy for a just positive life.
No, not at all. Yeah,
just in terms of your mental health or whatever it may be, just fear of leaving the house, whatever.
Oh yeah, big time. That it makes such a big difference.
Yeah,
and like you gotta be conscious. You gotta be conscious of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can give an example for myself, which is when I used to live in this area, like NW10. I think I've told this story before. I remember I used to listen to like a lot of like drill music and a lot of just like sort of like angry, like London music, like very violent. And this particular area I was living in was very very high in like a gang culture and like just all types of madness going on. I remember like listening to so much music that like after a certain time, like I'm actually not going out, because like you just become paranoid, because you fill your psyche with all this information.
Yeah.
But then, when I first came in, I had no problem going out, and I never had any issues with anyone, because it's just like, it's not, it feeds you a disproportionate amount of information where you think it's happening all the time, where it's like...
Yeah, that's interesting, because it kind of makes me think of when I first moved to London, and you kind of bring like a naiveness, whatever the word is, with you. Or maybe just a more positive outlook. I don't know what it is.
Or you just bring what you have with you, right?
Yeah.
Not.
And I wouldn't be afraid at the beginning to kind of wear crazy shit all the time. I mean, not just when going out. I mean, I would walk to school through like Holloway kind of area, in like robes and fucking like velvets and like covered in brooches and whatever it may be. But like over time, as you hear stories, you kind of revert back into a bit of a shell, and you're fearful of maybe doing the things that you were taking for granted earlier that you weren't thinking of, because now you've been
fed all this information.
Yeah, fed information, or because you've had personal experiences that weren't particularly
pleasant.
Exactly. So you kind of project that onto every waking minute of your life. You think this could happen right now, so I'm gonna tone it down, or I'm not gonna go out, or so I get
paranoia
that.
hits.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of your brain completely enveloping itself in negativity and fear, basically. So I get why the news and maybe only concentrating on the negative is just damaging.
Yeah, it's damaging. And I think it can just have like, I think it can just have reverse effects sometimes on how like how it affects people's like outlook on life.
Yeah.
Because then if I don't know, like if you grow up like and all your fed is like like a certain type of person just hates you, like, and you know, like say the classic, like, oh, like just like a white man, like you know, they hate gay people, they hate black people, or whatever. And then if you're a gay or a black kid, or you're a gay black kid,
right,
and then or you're listening, then every interaction with any white man, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like this
is a scare. This is possibly like a volatile, like scary situation.
And then the way the interaction will happen is you will naturally just have like a bit of a guard, and you won't be as open as if you just speak to an individual rather than just like trying to like group like a whole you know, trying to put a whole group into like a singular person. And then,
I guess it's because the possible ramifications of that are so scary to certain people that it's also just a natural human thing to have your guard up. Do you know what I mean? Just in front of strangers. I guess with the added maybe possible danger of it being, you know, just a scary situation. That definitely doesn't help with being able to kind of let down that guard. But yeah, I think the fear of what could possibly happen is, or you know, the possibility of whatever might happen is so, could be so scary and intense that sometimes, I guess people feel like they have to treat every situation like it's going to be a volatile one, you know. I know I definitely have that mentality, not with everyone, but just in certain situations, maybe in certain contexts or whatever. Because I mean, I have a lot of straight male friends, you know, and they're all great people. So, you know, I definitely don't go into every human interaction thinking, oh my God, this person's
hates
gonna
me,
beat me up or hates me.
Well, it's not even about, even without the violence. It's just
about the judging, you know, and maybe the prejudice attached to their thoughts.
Sometimes that can be like enough to just like, you know, make you feel like uneasy. Totally. Just the idea that someone else might be thinking something.
Totally.
But then, you know, that in itself can be damaging because you just go about life just like constantly thinking that everyone hates you.
Yeah, exactly.
That, do you think, obviously, in the rise of like wokeness?
Oh my God.
The rise of wokeness. It's what it is, isn't it? Is there anything that you've noticed that, like anything negative in that sort of sphere that you've sort of seen and you thought like, this is a bit weird, or this is
more damaging than it is.
Not.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is cancel culture. Cancel culture is the nastiest, just non-productive phenomenon that has come out of quote unquote wokeness. You know, I believe people should be called out for, you know, mistakes that they make that may have much bigger consequences than they might have initially thought or not even thought about. But, and I say this all the time, like as much effort you put into trying to find dirt on people or whatever it is the fuck you're doing, or, you know, trying to educate somebody on what they may be doing wrong. I feel like the same amount of effort should be put into not monitoring them, because that sounds really, you know, strict or whatever. Yeah. But just kind of watching to see whether that growth is taking place, you know, even in small ways. Because the problem with cancel culture is people call people out, but don't give them the chance to grow from it. And that's essentially the whole point behind calling somebody out, you know, is to hope that they might be a better person after being having their mind open to a certain thing. So people who I guess don't believe in maybe like a second chance or seeing whether this person grows from whatever you might have called them out for. People like that just want to bring people down. Period. There's no other actual intent behind it but to pull people down.
Yeah, I think also sometimes with cancel culture, what bugs me is like, for example, someone from your circle, whatever your circle is, will call someone out.
The gays.
Yeah, the gays. Yeah, the gays.
Is my circle.
Yeah, your circle. I'm just saying,
just
any
in general,
circle. Yeah, whatever. Even if it's circle of friends, like, they were like, oh, that's like a terrible person, or like blah blah. I'm canceling this person, and or like a headline will come up about a certain person,
and you're only given a very surface level.
Yeah, and people just read the headline, and then just from the headline
form an opinion from that.
Yeah, form an opinion, and
a very strong opinion.
Yeah, and then you won't take the time to actually just like look into if it's the reason why the person's even being counted for is it even real? Is that
whether it's taken out of context?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it may be. Yeah, totally.
There's what's this? There's a term for it called where it's basically like a lot of cancel culture and a lot of like all this wokeness that tends to happen is basically people trying to like earn like brownie points from like the people around them, and like they want to be like, hey, like, I did this good thing.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not necessarily like, and I think that can be like super toxic when it's just like you're just
doing. Think of like Real Housewives throwing charity events just so they can have a party and get drunk, but they call it a charity event so they can, within their circle of people, be viewed as this great
charitable people.
Good Samaritan.
There was a good term for it, but I can't remember.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. So cancel culture is bullshit.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are some people that I'm happy to cancel, people who have been given many a chance that, I wouldn't even like to use the word cancel because it's such a kind of negative connotation attached to that. But just don't fuck with, basically. I'm like, I don't care to give you my time of day anymore, because when you've been given, especially if it's about the same topic, if you're making mistakes in different areas and you're being called out for them and you can grow in each of them, cool. But if you're making the same mistake over and over and over again, and you're not listening, essentially, you're kind of refusing to listen to what people are trying to help you understand, then it's like, it's a bit too little too late for me. I'm like, cool, move on.
Yeah.
I don't need to kind of surround myself or my thoughts with whoever that person may be.
Yeah. And sometimes like people can get cancelled for like people call, like you said, maybe they should learn or whatever. But sometimes, people, when they say a controversial thing that actually might be the right thing, but then people would just purely just disagree with it because like, if it's either like, like gone against their beliefs or hurt their feelings or whatever, that can be, that can be damaging within itself. Where it's like you said, if this person like doesn't learn and blah 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 blah, but that means that what you're trying to say is that you believe that the right answer and not them, you know what I mean?
Totally right.
So I think sometimes like people that are being cancelled sometimes can give a different perspective on the point,
like an ultimatum.
Yeah,
you choose.
I mean, that's also a problem where, you know, like so much of today is like, we're given an ultimatum. We either have to be for or against something. Like you can't have like a discussion on why, some of it is good, some of it is bad. Because as soon as you have that conversation, then you're put on the side of, I don't agree. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're put on the other side, not on the, hey, yeah, this is all right. I mean, I guess like a good controversial topic for that would be just like today I feel like with transgenderism, I feel like transness. Is that what the right term is?
I've never heard transgenderism.
It's just like me speaking. But I feel like with transness.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Transness. Anyway, whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Transgender
people. I feel like people are very. People have become so careful about it that almost the topic of just being transgender has become like sacred. Like you almost like can't. Yeah, it's like the same thing. You have to be
like
for or against. Like you can't have a discussion on if certain things are right or certain things are bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally believe in like the kind of polar opposites of right and wrong. Again, I think that's a mentality that people who cancel for the sake of canceling carry. I think people who are much more just in tune with the human experience and kind of just
logic,
will understand that it's just, I think what most people are asking for is to be listened to. And sometimes it's good to just shut up and listen, you know, and whether you are fully on the side of the person who's trying to open your mind to something new or not, it might change in the smallest amount the way you might see something. And that is always a positive experience. Just opening your mind
to a different possibility.
Just for your whole life.
Yeah.
Changing your opinions. Listening to new experiences that you may have never, thought of or come across in your life. Just listening is like the best thing you can do. And whether, you know, your mind or your opinion has been changed 360 or not, like to give people the time of day is very powerful. I think.
Definitely. Yeah.
But both for yourself and just the world and other people, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's very important. That has to go both ways though, you know, like...
Sure, 100%.
It has to go both ways because I feel like a lot of... nowadays, a lot of people on the sort of like... on the very left side or very like woke side, that's saying what the thing you just said, where it's like you have to have your mind open to things. They only say it for like the people on the opposite spectrum and not for themselves.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Right. Well, for me, for example, because in most situations I kind of have the privilege to listen to the side that I may not agree with, just with certain topics. I do like to kind of, put myself in their shoes, not even in terms of their struggle, because, I mean, in certain situations there is no struggle, but just in terms of the way they think, you know, so that you can actually have a just a discussion that will
a productive discussion.
Yeah, a productive discussion.
Even if you disagree, even if it's
exactly. Yeah. Just have an open discussion where you might have opposing opinions, but it doesn't mean you're going to be at each other's throats. You know, like fucking going for it. You know? But I understand that some people don't have just the patience for that, because the reality is so real to them and so kind of negative in some ways. So, but you know, I always try to kind of listen to both sides, both whatever everybody's saying on, I guess, my side and
other side, wherever the other side is,
opinion is.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I brought up the sacred sort of thing with trans people is recently I've been reading a lot about sports, and in specifically trans women competing in women's sports.
Yeah.
So born men going into women's sports,
right,
and how much that has
born biologically male, but you know,
competing in women's sports, and how that
they are female,
and how that's just become
whatever
a whole,
traditionally biologically male.
Yeah, biologically male, but you know, transitioned. But yeah, how much of a issue that's sort of becoming within sports, and how, because you know, like
how people think there is an advantage there, maybe because of a certain, I don't know.
I mean, there's like, we're talking about the whole logic thing. Of course, there's an advantage, physical advantage between male and women. Like, if that's, you know, that's like a base level sort of thing, and now there's been a lot more acceptance within, you know, trans women competing in women's sports, which you have a lot of trans women winning a lot of stuff, and beating lots of records and etc.
When people saying it might be unfair or whatever.
But
I don't know. I think that more so stems not so much from the physical aspect, but rather what people's idea of a woman is. People's idea of a woman is, you know, a traditionally biologically female anatomy. And, you know, kind of a lot of people think that trans women, for example, specifically, is like a kind of a new phenomenon and it's something we need to get used to now. But trans people have always existed. Always. You know? So I think people just kind of need to change their archaic opinions of what a woman is. And in that way, you know, these people would just be women competing. But
it's not fair, though. It's not fair. You know what I mean?
Well, some of them would be stronger than others. And that's just based on how they happen to be born, you know?
But if you're born male, right? If you're born a male body, you know.
Okay, whatever, society says a male body is,
But you know what I mean? There's obviously male bodies and female bodies. When people are born, if you're trans, it's not a physical thing. You know, like if like you transition and you try to make the physical changes yourself, but
not everybody does.
Not everybody, but you know, let's say, but it's being a trans is, you know, it's how you feel, who you feel you are. You know what I mean? And there's in physicality, you're still in like, you have the thicker bones, the wider shoulders, the bigger hands, bigger feet, etc. You know, it's kind of like it's you know.
But that's the thing. You know, to me, why do those have to be masculine? Why do those features have to belong to a masculine image or to men? Because just the way I kind of view people or trans people in general, and I think we need to be careful about speaking on behalf of trans people as cis people.
I mean, it's just conversation, whatever.
I don't know. In my head, the idea of women having penises is completely normal to me.
Yeah.
Or women having bigger hands or wider shoulders is completely normal to me. If you, identify as a woman, whether you look head to toe, traditionally male or not, you're a woman to me. You know what I mean? Because that's how you chose to live your life, and you chose to live your life in a traditionally masculine presenting way, So that's where the kind of, where it doesn't connect for me in sports specifically, is that people are essentially not viewing these trans women as women, period. They're viewing them as a different type of human, where in reality, it's all up here rather than it being about the physicality. I mean, there's people who are born who have just much better metabolisms than others. Or much better,
of course.
Just kind of ability to be physical than others, Some people are born with physical disabilities, and it's just the way you are born, and people shouldn't, I think, be judged kind of differently, especially when it comes to gender, because if you're a stronger female, you're a stronger female. That's
yes,
that,
but I think there's definitely a line there, because let's say weightlifting, right?
Sure.
Like the top 1,000 male weightlifters can all beat the strongest woman in women's lifting.
Okay.
They can all beat the world record of, and more than 1,000. Like a lot of blokes that just work out a lot can beat world records that are set by female in weightlifting. And say any of those guys identifies as a woman and then goes on the women's side of the sport, and then he just he breaks the world records for it.
She breaks the world records.
Breaks the world records. Then how is that fair on all the other women in that sport themselves?
Well, you're kind of making it seem as if this person is doing this as an advantage to themselves in order to win. This trans woman is in no way thinking, great, I can transition and be like the champion of women. Do you know what I mean? It's a personal struggle that has nothing to do with the sport. It has to do with your identity and just who you feel you are as a person. So why should that be judged and conflated with just a passion that you may have, which might be weightlifting? I also am curious to just know how many of those men are trans men, because you have things like testosterone, I believe injections, and whether that will eventually, and I hate to word it this way, but bring you on the same level as somebody who was cis, born biologically male and identifies as that throughout the rest of their life. I wonder.
Yeah, see, on the other side of the spectrum, women transitioning into men.
So trans men.
Trans men. See, that doesn't happen very much in sport, because that comes with just a natural disadvantage. Women don't want to compete against cis women, don't want to compete against cis men, as in like, if you're women transition into a man, because naturally you just have a massive disadvantage with your physicality. But you see it a lot the other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah. So this is what I mean, where like information, and conversations about that sort of thing shouldn't be sacred. Like you should be able to have a discussion and
totally.
And people, of course, people might be hurt by these sort of things, but there is a harsh reality of it, because I do think if you're if you want to move in a sort of progressive manner, you can't just there has to be open conversations about these things where
But
stuff.
I think the most important thing is probably for like if you had those, if you had that curiosity, and not even you, but I mean just you in general, like to have that conversation with an actual trans woman who does sport rather than me.
Yeah. No, I'm just interested in what what you think about it.
Totally,
Yeah.
but I'm saying rather than me,
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd really love to. Yeah.
Who honestly knows nothing about sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it goes back to my point of listening to people and having these conversations directly with people, because it will open up your mind so much more, I'm sure, and not even in a way to convert your opinion to theirs.
No, just to see how and why. Yeah. No, of course, yeah, definitely.
Because, if you're forever having these conversations within your own kind of group of people, say cis, straight men or whatever it may be, your opinion will forever stay stagnant, you know, or just not even your opinion, just your views and just your understanding of things will forever stay stagnant.
100%. I do think that these sort of conversations, you know, like the same reason why it's good to have a conversation on racism with someone of color.
Well, of course,
it's the same. It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. Because it's just I think in a society where things are changing incredibly quick, these sort of like.
I guess it's hard to keep up in.
It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with, and you know, you let certain things like, you just let ideas just thrive, and like you know, there's good ideas and there's bad ideas. You know,
sure,
what I mean?
yeah. And honestly, like the healthiest thing to do is you listen to all of them and you formulate your own opinion after having listened to everyone.
Yeah. Of
you
course,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than staying in your own bubble or me staying in my own bubble of opinions and not branching out of it or listening to, you know, the full picture, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, honestly, again, going back to my point, listening to the source of what you may be curious about will always be a kind of like a mind just opening.
Well, yeah, it's
experience.
You know, especially people that are in it, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I'd love to. I'd really love to, because obviously, like I've lived in sports for like the longest time.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
So it's been part of my life for so long. So that's why I have a particular interest in it. So yeah, it will be maybe I'll do some research trying to find.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm sure it'd be super fucking interesting as well.
Yeah.
Like I would be interested in whatever it is that you may find as well, because again, like sports is not necessarily something that
yeah, it's not really your part of your life.
So,
yeah.
I mean, like, wouldn't that be the coolest if you kind of educated me on something within just kind of queerness, within a realm of it that I am not familiar with? Like, that'd be sick, you know? That'd be super interesting.
And also, I think it's also hard, you know, how you say like, oh, it's good to go from the source, but sometimes, like we were talking the other day about as well, but when we say like it's good to go to the source about information and stuff, and say like, for example, I'm talking about trans people in sports, and I just speak to a trans person within sports, then I'm putting my whole opinion like on one person of a whole thing,
and
so
you're
like,
treating it as like a kind of like monolithic opinion,
where realistically I'm sure there will be there's different opinions within the trans community.
I mean,
within
you have
sports.
Caitlyn Jenner as a prime example, who's like a fucking hardcore Republican, and you're like, but you're trans, like how could you sort of, you know, things like that confuse me a little. Like, how could you be on the side of the people that essentially the majority of like doesn't agree with, you know, how they would phrase it?
Or at least that's how it's portrayed, though. That's at least
at least
that's how it's portrayed.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, if,
this is a general statement, but like stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, or you know, like, or no, scratch that. More so, just like, you know, what you hear will always not always, but most of the time, just kind of be the majority opinion, because it's harder, I think, to hear, what the lesser the
Yes, no, I agree.
saying.
I agree. But also, the problem with that as well is that you have normally, the loudest people within a group are the most extreme. They're the ones that
going back to you only listen to the kind of really controversial negative stuff. Maybe what.
But it's hard because the average person, the average gay person, the average straight person, average whatever you are, just lives their life and then goes about their life and whatever. It doesn't necessarily want to interact with a lot of the political sides of the story. They just want to sort of stay away and and then quite often what tends to happen is they have people that speak for them without necessarily them wanting to. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a super hard space to navigate, I think, nowadays, because you have so many different, I guess, tribes that they have the loudest minority of those tribes speak for everyone, and then you formulate opinions upon that, and then obviously even gets exploded in the media, because then those the most extreme people within those groups, then they get the most media attention, and then they get invited to TV news networks, podcasts, etc. Then platforms, yeah. And then quite not too often you see just the average Joe just chat about political problems, because also they don't want, because quite often they don't want to be.
But yeah, I guess that stems from just kind of subconsciously just wanting to live a life, a problem-free life,
Yeah.
Some people I do think are just kind of lazy, I don't know, or just, I don't know. But there is a part of that kind of mindset of people just essentially wishing they lived, I guess, a life that, was struggle-free. So they might ignore or not want to engage in conversations where, just not very nice things come up, and it kind of affects your views on life or your mental health or just the way you live, whatever it may be. But yeah.
I mean, whatever. It is very. There's a lot of. I'm trying to figure it out in my head. I've been trying to over the last few years, because I think it's its core and foundation. It's there's something that combines all of the social issues under one, where people sort of people want to obviously live a good life and live a struggle-free life, but then that somehow can have a negative impact on themselves and the group around them by, I don't know, just overdoing it sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have the words for it quite yet, but I'm trying to.
I don't know, but if you think about it, this, whatever the average Joe, as you put it, if they don't give a fuck, then why should they give a fuck for somebody, I guess, speaking for them? Do you know what I mean? If they're removing themselves from that realm completely, they wouldn't be affected or shouldn't be affected by what somebody else may be saying who looks exactly like them. You know what I mean? Let that person have their say and have, a kind of rally of people behind them who agree with them. And if you are removing yourself from that space, then cool, good for you. If you are choosing not to have a say, then that's it.
No, of course. Yeah. If you choose not to have a say, 100%. But then, it's just, it's just, I mean, it's obvious, but I guess people just don't have don't necessarily have the choice sometimes, because if you visually look, if you're a queer person, whatever that, can obviously people can tell if you're queer, then they automatically will put like they'll put a certain box around you, or if you're,
or assume you share the same opinion.
Assume you share the same opinions as whoever's being the loudest in that group at the moment.
Yeah, so it indirectly affects you and might frustrate you in a way. I don't know. A lot of those, and I'm not saying every case, but a lot of those cases come from just like, you have the privilege to be able to ignore it. You know what I mean? You may be a very incredibly wealthy, rich, queer person who doesn't face as many kind of everyday struggles as I do, or even somebody else might. So it's easier for you to be like, I haven't experienced this. You know what I mean?
Another point to add is sometimes like they won't, maybe they'll have a differing opinion on whatever they think is actually happening, but they wouldn't want to voice it because they don't want to be scrutinized by their own tribe,
people, community,
by their own community, which it makes sense. You don't want your own community to go against you. If you have like a different opinion of whatever's hot right now, and the people within your group that are the loudest speak, and then I guess it all like has like a domino effect on everyone else within the public eye, and then everyone around you. Then you just rather just not say what you really think because.
Yeah, but I think maybe people, because you don't want to be
scrutinized.
Right. Because you don't want to be cancelled.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like a lot of those people are probably just quite close-minded people who just don't care to listen to people. You know,
I don't think that's true, though. I don't think that's true.
Well, I wouldn't say everyone, but I'd say it's a chunk of those people are probably people who are quite close-minded who. Just kind of maybe lack a lot of kind of just human empathy. I don't know. There's people who...
I don't think that's true, though. I don't think that's true.
What, like you think if somebody doesn't like listening, or if somebody... Not
listening.
Like a political sense, but I just mean in just everyday conversation. If like, I think people like that who try to remove themselves are people who are kind of have an inability to listen and absorb other people's opinions, and that isn't so much a social issue, but more so like just something to do with the psyche.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I'm trying to say, though. What I don't mean like they're not trying to absorb the opinion. They're absorbing it and they have listened to it, but they just don't think.
Yeah,
they
totally.
don't think
what I'm saying
it's the right one.
Is I'm sure some of those people are just quite close-minded. Yeah. Not all of them, but I'm sure there's a, within that kind of realm of, not wanting to kind of relate yourself, I guess, with people who are incredibly outspoken. Yeah. Just comes from not really being bothered, or just like, I don't know, a weird closed-mindedness. And
I don't know if it's closed-minded or open-minded. I've been thinking a lot about this recently, about people saying open-minded.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that say open-minded are they themselves not very open-minded, right? Because they don't take being open-minded means you take on, you consider other people's opinions, and you always have the idea in you that you might be wrong.
That is my opinion. That is my view of what open-mindedness is. It's literally opening your mind to everything.
You might be wrong. You might be wrong.
But that's kind of like my intent behind when somebody's open-minded. But you're right. I think a lot of people think open-minded is left and closed-minded is right.
Yeah.
Kind of conservative and not conservative, whatever, terms.
Yeah. But it's just people believing in their own thing. You know what I mean? It's just a bit of a buzzword within the left side, where it's just being open-minded, when I don't necessarily think it gets used in the right context very often.
Agreed.
And like, it can be, I don't know, because I think that there is a lot of social pressure nowadays. There's a lot of
open-minded feels quite like self-indulgent sometimes, that term, and like
I'm better than you. Yeah. I'm better than you. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I see that a lot on dating apps. Like,
really?
just like girls saying like, if you're not open-minded, swipe right. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, what, like,
like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah. Like, do you mean like if we have different views, then I shouldn't like.
Right.
Like,
do you know? Yeah, exactly. But her version of, or their version of open-minded, maybe a completely right opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really super right.
Yeah. Or who knows? I don't know. Just that term does bug me a little, because, like you said, it is a bit self-indulgent.
It just gets used wrong, essentially, or well, not wrong, but just.
The term gets used to portray a certain political political
opinion side. or set of views.
Yeah. You know, it's
no, I agree with that.
Yeah. Whatever, man. It's quite the sphere to navigate.
It is definitely.
And you have to tremble carefully.
You have to be open-minded.
You have to be so open-minded. It is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, and I tried to listen to as much. Like, I was listening to like.
Dude, I could obviously give you people to follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
just
podcasts
who are like
stuff.
the extreme kind of, whatever.
Left.
Yeah, totally. But like, as extreme as they may be, like, they've opened my brain up to the most like unfathomable, like, to me personally, maybe whatever 2 seconds ago before listening to them, just views and whatever it may be. Like, just people think just far beyond anything I could ever come to the conclusion of myself, I think, and it's just interesting to hear what people have to say and how people think. Like, people are cool. Like, there are some cool people out there that are just on another wavelength of just understanding the human experience in, whatever way is relevant to them.
Yeah.
Or just the world even, just weighing out everything. I don't know. It's very interesting.
I was like, cool, let me listen to a podcast that I wouldn't normally do. And I just typed in woke on Spotify, and it came up with Woke AF podcast.
Oh my God.
From
Was it terrible?
It was like, when people just get like, they just speak, and the more they speak, the more they get angry, but by themselves.
Right.
There's just this like woman speaking, and she was just getting so riled up about whatever. It's just like, again, it was the whole like kind of like going back to the whole open-mindedness and the self-indulgence, and just thinking that your way of thinking is better than other people's thinking, and not having that way of thought where I actually could be wrong with certain opinions, and being completely 100% confident.
We're not even wrong. There's just other things out there that might kind of sway your opinion.
Yeah, sway your opinion, and also the fact that, like, I think also the one thing with I keep saying woke and left, but I don't have any other words to describe it.
Right.
I think it's a group of people that I think get manipulated a lot by the media. I think it's a group the left side of the spectrum and the right as well, and the media has become very smart on how to tick people the wrong way and for them to engage with certain things. You know what I mean? And like we were saying with the whole people getting the media feeding you like negative things and etc. But it's all about what you interact with the most, and people interact with what they just think is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, or blah, blah, blah. So it feeds you certain articles, or certain articles are written in a way where it can just stir you up, and like it'll make you like go write a tweet about it or post something or whatever.
But that's what they want you to do.
But no, that's the thing there. That's 100% what they want you to do.
Like fear mongering and
yeah.
And it is manipulative.
Very manipulative.
Just insanity.
And also like
and people are very impressionable.
Yeah.
That's it. People are incredibly
Gullible.
impressionable. Gullible, yeah. Or just kind of lazy, and they don't just kind of
but
like you
everyone
said, read a headline and form an opinion on that.
But I think
like,
everyone is everyone can be a victim of that.
Totally.
Everyone. And like I've mentioned this a few times on this podcast, but like, have you heard of like Russian troll farms before? Or
no, what's that?
It's basically like
Russian troll.
Yeah, troll. Yeah. That's like the nickname for them. They're troll. Let's just trade troll farms in general, because there's some outside of Russia as well, around like Eastern Europe and China and stuff. But basically, they are, let's call them tools for stirring up society, or like Western society. So they're basically people pretend to be other people, right? And then engaging in conversations and stuff, and pretending to be a person on the far right or far left or whatever, and then engaging with someone to just stir up. Yeah.
I've never heard of this in my life.
Oh, it's like, it's a big thing. And so, for example, on Facebook, they done this thing where basically they changed how you enter groups on Facebook. So there's like loads of groups on Facebook, whatever. Yeah. And basically they made this like slight change in the program where if I invite you to a group, obviously it used to be you'd have to accept to enter my group, right?
Right.
But now what the difference is, if I invite you to a group, like a couple posts that I've posted in my group will pop up on your timeline, and as soon as one of those posts, like as soon as you click on one of those posts, you automatically enter my group. You automatically become part of it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know it's a bit.
It's on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. I know it's a bit fishy, but then what that opened a whole can of worms, where basically it became a thing where these troll farms, right? They'll make an account. They'll make a group, and they'll invite hundreds of thousands of people, right? Hundreds of thousands of people. And of course,
Because they just clicked on a post?
No. They'll just actually invite them. And then as soon as those people click on a post that comes up on the time, they'll become part of the group.
Yeah.
And that had a big snowball effect where...
What? I never heard of this before.
It's did you ever watch Social Dilemma on Netflix?
No.
Anyway, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But basically... So these troll farms end up making all these groups and stuff. So the study recently focusing on Christianity, for example, there was
Do they make money from this?
Yes and no, but it's not necessarily about money. Right. But out of the top 20 Christian groups on Facebook, top 20 Christian groups. So can you imagine, like, these are groups with millions of people.
Yeah.
19 of those were made by troll farms. Yeah.
Whoa.
And so the whole thing is they post certain things to like stir up things in society, to like basically add a bit of friction.
Why?
Well, it's there's a
just for the sake of human unrest.
Yeah. Because
what the fuck?
Yeah, man. Well, this is like there's a digital war happening underneath. Like,
Who is behind these troll farms? Because I have a feeling there are a lot of white men.
Well, it's not really. It's not white men. It's just it's Russia. It's China. It's
right.
It's not necessarily about race or anything like that. It's just about countries fighting each other. It's big powers fighting each other. And it's not, this specific study was about Christians, but it was like, it goes far and wide. African American groups, and most of them were made by these farms.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And they don't make it very obvious, right? They'll post certain articles, or they'll post like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, oh, the snowflake generation, or like the far right movement. Yeah. And I can't believe blah, 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 blah. Just to like get people a bit fucking...
Snowflake generation.
Yeah.
Are we the snowflake generation?
I don't know. I don't really know who that is. Probably.
I think we are, yeah.
But anyway, I think going back to the whole gullible thing, I think people can be victims of those things without even considering the fact that they are victims of it.
Totally. Yeah. That they're just part of like a game.
But it was, I mean, this is a very crazy, like
move.
Massive meme pages on Instagram were made by troll farms. And
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, because these memes, they're like just a little source of sprinkle of political, pushing people to one side or to the other side, totally. or like trying to just basically polarizing society to just have friction, and like the left. Yeah,
God,
I know it's crazy. So, and I think the just whole like open-mindedness thing. It's just like there needs to be like a step back, and you have to look at where your information is coming from big time, because you never know, like what Instagram, what Facebook group, what newspaper, whatever. There's always a bias.
Yeah. People just aren't very like self-aware either, whether it comes to just like just yourself, or the views you may have, whatever it may be. Like, people don't like to question themselves a lot, or the things they're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Like, that's
because it means that
people are so easily...
People don't like being wrong.
Huh?
People don't like being wrong,
Yeah. Which is so weird to me. It's so... Oh God, it's such a weird part of the human...
But we don't
ego,
we don't encourage it. Like, even like, going back to the cancel culture thing, like people... Like, when people come out and say something about their past where they did wrong, and then instead of people being like, oh, like, you've changed good, quite often what happens, people are like, I can't believe you've done that. Like, you're cancelled. Like, they'll, like whatever the thing is, like, it happened, like, like 10, 20 years ago, and they themselves said it. And then people will just go after them just because, I don't know, like... you're not encouraged to like share your mistakes and share your like wrongs in life.
It's weird because there's all those like, your mistakes make you better, and failure is success, and you're kind of fed those stupid like bumper sticker mottos. But like reality, I guess people don't. Don't essentially fucking believe in it, or don't practice what they preach,
but they think they do. That's the thing, they think they do, but it's like we were talking about the other day about like intention. The intention can be good, but actually what comes out of it's not necessarily good.
Maybe completely different.
Anyway,
crazy.
Yeah.
How long have we been even going for? Holy shit.
An hour and a half.
Damn, already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
your episodes always are an hour and a half.
Yeah, about an hour and a half. There was one that was 3.
Holy shit! With who?
Anna, Alex's sister.
Cool.
That was very nice. Yeah. That was really fun actually. We were just chatting.
3
Hours, yeah, 3 hours.
Oh my God, that's like King Kong, the movie.
That was like Batman.
Right. Yeah, how was that? Batty Man.
Barry Man.
Oh my God, which is, I realize is what I'm going to Pussy Palace. I'm going as a bat.
Are you?
I'm like a batty man, a batty bat.
Nah, Batman was okay. It could have been about 40 minutes shorter and it would have been better. It was very beautiful. I think Robert Pattinson was actually pretty good in it. I think the acting was
Great actor.
Yeah. I think
What about Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah, so hot.
She's so hot and also
so hot.
so cool.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
Yeah. It just has such a nice like big dick energy about her.
She really does. Like,
Just really carries herself.
Donkey dick.
Donkey dick. Yeah. But no, it was fun. Like there was a lot of fun visually. A lot of fun visual stuff. It was very dark.
I'm interested in watching it for the visual thing because that's what I've heard. It's very kind of like emo-y. I don't know, for some reason I'm imagining Sin City. It's probably not to that extent.
No, it's not
at all.
It's not
stylistically.
No, but like it's all dark, raining.
Right. I love that.
Gotham City.
Totally.
Quite dystopian and like
Yeah.
It was. I enjoyed most of it. I was really into the beginning, and then it sort of just like swayed off a bit.
Yeah,
but I was very engaged. I was very engaged for the most of it, and yeah, worth a watch. But it is 3 hours.
Yeah, I probably won't go to the cinema to watch it. Just wait till it's like illegally streamable.
yeah, literally popcorn time.
Or yeah, exactly. Or if it pops up on Netflix for a day.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway,
Loves it.
Cool.
Gosh, I feel like we burned through a few topics.
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do this again.
Christ. Yeah, we should do like a part 2.
Part 2.
We haven't spoken about India or CSN.
Yeah, no, there's more. There's a lot to
unpack.
India.
But I'll be in Tokyo. No, I'm just kidding. Well, let's manifest it. I'll be in Tokyo.
Yeah, you'll be in Tokyo.
Who knows what that'll happen, but you know, it's so stupid. One of the biggest things that's pushing me back from going to Tokyo is I'm going to miss Lady Gaga's concert. Like, oh my God, I was such a dumbass. Like, in the long run, am I really going to be like, I'm so glad I canceled that chapter in my life just so I could go to this concert. So
that is, no offense, so gay.
Oh my God, it is the gayest.
That is like, I'm going to cancel my life. I mean, to be fair, Lady Gaga was a very pivotal person for you.
Yeah, honestly. Like, the first concert I went to hers was honestly, to this day, the most like freeing experience of my life. Just so insane.
Go on, just give us the.
Well, just as like a little like closeted 16-year-old boy in high school who got bullied a lot, you know, and we were living in India at the time, and I remember we were like at a trip, like a family trip in Goa. Which sounds bougie, but it's like, it was next door. Do you know what I mean? Because we lived in India at the time. So it's just like, yeah, you just go to Goa. I caught my dad at the perfect time at the bar because he was wasted. I was like, Dad, these tickets have just been released for a Gaga concert in Singapore. Do you think you could buy the tickets? Like, for all of us? He was like, yeah, let's do it. And then he bought the tickets, and afterwards he's like, fuck, now I need to pay for flights, pay for a hotel for us to stay in. We literally went to Singapore for like 3 days just to see Lady Gaga.
Oh my days.
Me, my sister, and my parents, we missed my brother's like half of his graduation, I feel like the night of his party or whatever, just to see Lady Gaga.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was like the first time I ever dressed up. First time I ever like really dressed up. I guess my first time in drag kind of thing. And I saw drag queens and I saw other gay people, something I'd never been
surrounded by,
just exposed to it in my life. And never been to an arena before for a concert. I'd never been to a concert like that before, and it was just so intense. And me and my sister were right at the front. Like, you know, when you're being squashed at the barrier, like the next closest thing is the stage to you, and it was very fun. I did my sister's makeup as well, and it took me a long time. And as soon as like the first even echo of Gaga's voice, my sister cried it all off. And I was like, fucking hell, kid. Like, really? But no, it was a very liberating experience. I have her guitar pick from that night.
No way.
She threw it into the audience and I have it. She has a song called Hair, which is all about like expressing yourself through your hair, because you can cut it off and grow it back and dye it or do whatever you want with it. My dad's bald, and he was in the audience, right kind of at the front near us. And she's like, yeah, it's all about hair and whatever. And, you know, it's a great song. You know, she says something along the lines of like, unless you're that guy. Like
points at your dad.
Essentially like points at my dad. Or like, you know, just brings attention to my dad with bald ass head. And it's just like, oh,
it's hilarious.
That concert was mad. She like knelt before me and my sister and like sang Bad Romance to us. You know, when you know they're looking at you. I mean, she was like right here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was like everything you can expect and more in a concert all at once. And I was like, holy shit, nothing's ever going to top this in my life.
Yeah, fair. Do you feel like that was a pivotal moment in your life?
In the moment it was. But, you know, as soon as I kind of left that moment, I went back to just being, you know, my little insecure.
Yeah, 16-year-old, yeah.
I remember, Dad, if you're listening, like, don't beat yourself up about this. We've all moved past this now. But I remember, coming out of the concert and just raving about it to my parents. We're like, oh my God, it was amazing. And I mentioned like the male dancers. I was like, oh, that was so cool. You know, it was the first time I'd really seen like gay people like dancing gay.
Yeah.
And like half naked, sweaty, muscled men. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's like, oh, the male dancers are so cool. And my dad was like, well, I hope you like some of the female dancers as well, Jonni, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. This is not the comment I need after being like liberated and like, you know, into like ascending into heaven or whatever.
Gay
Gaga heaven. Yeah.
And your dad's like, well, women dancers look pretty good too. Don't you think, Jonni?
Yeah.
Don't you think, John?
Yeah. Oh my God, bury that energy. No, but and I'm again not saying that was the moment that turned me back to just kind of going back into my normal closeted day-to-day life.
No.
It's just it was
just the environment. Yeah, environment.
It took a while after that to kind of get comfortable in my sexuality, but yeah, it was a very good concert. And it's my favorite album of Gaga's as well, the concert I went to. And my second favorite is this next concert. So I'm kind of like, fuck this. I just need to find a sugar daddy in Tokyo that'll pay for my flight back for a week and then back
Sounds
again.
Great. It's possible.
Do a quarantine in a nice hotel.
What do they call like in Japan they have like a name for like foreigners that like people like want to have like sex with or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I need to get down with this crowd.
Yeah. You need to find one of them sugar daddies.
Yeah. Oh my God, no, I'm honestly, that will be my mission.
That sounds great. Dedicate a lot of time to it. I'm sure you'll be successful.
Oh my God, too much. Yeah. You can take my ticket. To see Gaga. No, actually, I'm thinking of giving it to Katie. Because Katie would have a good time.
She would, yeah. Is it here in London?
Yeah, she actually just added a new date for it. So there's 2 dates for London, and one of them is on Katie's birthday.
No way.
We were discussing whether the flat should pitch in to get her a couple of tickets.
Wow.
On her birthday. But if I do go to Tokyo, she'll take my ticket anyway.
Yeah.
Very fun. What do you think about Lady Gaga, Coco?
What I think about Lady Gaga, yeah, she's pretty fucking cool. I mean, I don't actually know too much about her, honestly, but you know
a lot because of me.
Yeah, I mean, and just like visually just so cool. Like the Alejandro video is like fucking so amazing.
Yeah, and it's sick.
So sick. And a lot of the stuff is very sick. Like the movie she done with Bradley Cooper.
Star is Born.
Star is Born. That was very good. Good act. She's just quite like...
I can't believe you clocked it right from the beginning that he was going to... Well, spoiler alert, do not listen, that he was going to hang himself.
Like...
Because you saw the nooses on the billboard. Yeah. It was like some gay pride billboard or something. I don't know. And that completely went past my head and you were like, he's going to kill himself.
Like 10 minutes in.
Like, what the hell?
And yeah. Sorry
like
for the
that
spoiler.
to me was so out of left field. I was like, I was not expecting that throughout the entire movie. And then it happened. I was like, oh my God.
I do that, you know. My dad does that as well. Really? A lot. Just like, I was like...
Just in movie intuition.
Yeah, movie intuition prediction. Oh my days.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah. Lady Gaga seems I did see a picture of her a bit recent. She seems like she had quite a lot of work done on her.
Yep.
Yeah.
She definitely looks different.
Yeah.
Definitely some lip filler and
the classic
Botox, and the cheekbones, whatever.
The classic
it may be.
rich people.
Which is why it kind of made me think, like, it made it hard for me to watch A Star is Born because I saw, like, somebody who had surgery essentially, or whatever minor procedures they may be. So it made it harder for me to believe the character.
Right. Yeah.
As like this, you know,
just like
makes
average,
no money, living with her dad kind of person.
Yeah. That's always a bit jarring.
Yeah.
That's not quite making sense.
When you're like cheekbones are out to here.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, she's
a cool lady.
I love that video of Kanye West where he goes like,
"Shut up about Polaroid."
Like, I love some of Lady Gaga's songs.
But what the fuck does she know about being creative director at Polaroid?
Or like, what does she know about photography or something? Fucking like, hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, that was hilarious.
I remember when that happened, I was confused too. I was like, why?
No, because he was...
like Gaga becoming creative director of Polaroid.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's just Lady Gaga. I'm sure she can sell any... Yeah,
you know.
literally. Yeah. I mean, I don't... Yeah, like I said, I don't actually know too much. But she fucking got good music. Good dance music.
Serious. Yeah, good music.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note,
I feel like we're just blabbering now. Yeah. I'm sure we'll definitely do a part 2 in like...
When I'm back from Tokyo. Man.
Yeah, how exciting is that?
Then we'll only be talking about Tokyo.
That's fine.
A hell of a lot.
That's fine. People,
well, if I'm back from Tokyo.
Maybe you just stay there. Maybe
I'll be back in July for the concert and to do more shoots.
Hopefully get to do some shoots out there and that'd be sick.
Yeah, that's what I really want. I want to kind of build a network while I'm out there, very kind of slowly but surely. Anybody who's listening to this, there's any connections in Tokyo, let me know.
Let Jonni know. Yeah, all the thousands of people that are going to listen to this. All the
thousands of people that know people in Tokyo as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, cool. An hour and 46 minutes, thereabouts.
That's pretty decent.
I know how much you love handshakes. Let's have a handshake.
Oh my God.
I see. Let's do a good one. That's a game. Yeah, there we go.
Did you say that's a gay one? It was a gay one.
You have to just, your thumb skin has to touch.
It has to touch here. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh God, no.
Do you feel like I've sent some manliness?
Straight cooties.
Anyway, let's end it. Goodbye, people.
Goodbye. It was fun. I hope you enjoyed.
Oh my God. Maybe next time I'll pretend like I'm gay and you pretend you're straight.
I'll be straight. Yeah. We'll do like a role reversal.
That would be...
It would be pretty funny.
That would be funny. Anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye, KOKO's fans.